You felt it before, even if you didn't have the words. That strange tension when someone smiles, but their eyes don't match. The way someone says, "I'm okay," and you feel, deep down, that they aren't. We're trained to listen to words, but most of the truth isn't spoken. It's shown in the pauses, in the tone, in the way people hold themselves together when they're falling apart inside. And this lesson isn't about tricks or reading body language like a manual. It's about learning to see, really see, the emotional truth behind behavior. Because every person is broadcasting their story, even when they don't mean to. And once you start noticing the quiet signals, you'll begin to hear what others try to hide. Not to judge them, but to understand them. And maybe to understand yourself. We live in a world where everyone is performing, not always on purpose, but survival taught them to act, to wear the face that gets approval, to speak the way others want, to pretend when they feel lost. Some people do it with confidence, some with silence. But underneath, the same truth lives. We want to be seen without being exposed. And that's why the performance exists. It's not fake, it's protective. But performances aren't perfect. And that's where the truth escapes. A flicker in the eyes, a tremble in the hands, a sudden change in voice. These are not mistakes, they're doorways. And if you learn to watch gently, not like a detective, but like someone who truly cares, you'll start to read the truth people can't say out loud. So here's the first emotional truth. People don't hide because they're deceptive. They hide because they're scared. When someone avoids eye contact, stumbles on their words, or seems too cheerful, that's not a performance to trick you. It's a shield to protect themselves. And if you can remember that, you won't just hear what they're saying. You'll hear what they're trying not to say, what they don't have words for yet. This is where real connection begins. Truth 2. What someone avoids reveals what they fear. Pay close attention to the subject someone always skips, the questions they laugh off, the emotions they downplay. When someone never talks about failure, it's probably because they carry shame. When someone never gets angry, it might be because anger scared them as a child. Avoidance isn't emptiness. It's a full room with the lights off. And your job, if you want to understand them, is to notice where the silence grows loud. Truth 3. People who talk the most often feel the least heard. That friend who dominates the conversation, always interrupting, always talking over others. They may seem arrogant. But inside, they might be terrified of being ignored. People often talk not to be understood, but to be remembered. And the more they feel invisible, the louder they become. So instead of judging the volume, ask, where did they first feel small? Truth 4. The strongest seeming person is often holding back tears. We admire those who have it all together. The calm ones, the leaders, the helpers. But many of them grew up believing they had to hold everyone else up, because no one ever held them. So now, even in pain, they smile. Even when breaking, they fix others. But if you really look, you'll see the tightness in their body, the careful way they move, the weight behind their eyes. That's not peace. That's pressure. And the moment you stop assuming they're fine is the moment you can start giving them the softness they never received. Truth 5. Kindness is often born from pain. That person who's always gentle, always understanding, always listening. They didn't become that way by accident. Usually, they became kind because they know what it's like to be treated without kindness. Their empathy was carved by experience. Their compassion was built from wounds. And that's why you should never mistake softness for weakness. Some of the most tender people are survivors of things they'll never fully speak about. By now, you might already feel something shifting. You walk through your day and start to see it. The way someone's joke hides nervousness. The way someone's silence screams. The way someone's pride feels shaky. You're not imagining it. You're beginning to read the signals underneath. And this isn't about gaining power. It's about giving understanding. Because once you see someone clearly, you can stop being confused by them and start being present with them. And that's the beginning of a new kind of connection. Not just with them, but with yourself. When you begin to see the patterns, something strange happens. You start remembering moments from years ago. That friend who always needed to be right. That relative who could never say, "I'm sorry." That person who left without a reason. And suddenly, their behavior stops being a mystery. You realize they weren't being difficult. They were protecting something, a wound, a belief, a memory. And once you understand that, you stop reacting. You stop blaming. You start understanding. Because the greatest skill you'll ever learn isn't reading people's faces, it's reading their fears. Their fears write the story. All you have to do is listen. Truth 6. People often use control to feel safe. The ones who plan everything. The ones who need every answer. The ones who panic when something changes. It may look like discipline, but look closer. It's fear. Fear that if they don't control the outside, the inside will collapse. Control is their way of staying upright. Because somewhere along the line, they learned that life was unpredictable, and unpredictability brought pain. So now, they grip tightly, not because they want to dominate, but because they're afraid to fall. The more they control, the more fragile they feel inside. Truth 7. When someone pretends not to care, they usually care the most. This one is easy to miss. A person rolls their eyes at compliments, says things like, "whatever," or "I'm over it." They act numb, detached, cold. But that's not truth, that's armor, because to care openly is to risk being hurt. And for some, that risk is too high, so they shut down. Act uninterested, act bored. But under that cold surface is usually a heart that's burning, one that's been disappointed too many times and is now trying to feel nothing, because everything felt like too much. Truth 8. People often hurt others where they were first hurt. Think about it. The person who criticizes your voice may have once been told theirs was too loud. The person who mocks your dreams may have had theirs laughed at. Hurt doesn't always stay inside. Sometimes it leaks sideways. It becomes sarcasm, bitterness, passive aggression. But underneath all that behavior is usually a younger version of them, confused, unprotected, and still holding on to the pain. You don't have to excuse it, but when you see it for what it is, it changes how you respond. You stop taking it personally. You start seeing the wound. Truth 9. The most helpful people often feel unworthy. They give, and give, and give. They always say yes, always show up, always try to fix. But sometimes that's not just kindness, it's a way to earn love. Somewhere they learned they had to do something to be wanted, that just being wasn't enough. So they became the helper, the healer, the reliable one. And while the world may praise them, inside they often feel empty. Because love that must be earned never feels safe. So when you meet someone who gives too much, don't just thank them. Ask if they're okay. Truth 10. The loudest confidence often hides quiet shame. We all know someone like this. Big voice, big energy, always right, always proud. But look closer. The overconfidence isn't arrogance. It's armor. It's protection. Because deep down, they carry shame about something they did, about something they never became. Shame whispers, "You're not enough." And to drown that voice, they shout, performance, dominate. But the truth is, when you really feel worthy, you don't need to prove it. You just live it. So next time someone seems too much, don't shrink away. Look underneath, and you may find someone still trying to forgive themselves. By now, you're probably seeing it happen in real time. A co-worker brags a little too much, and now you don't feel annoyed, you feel curious. A friend suddenly disappears when emotions get deep, and instead of being angry, you understand they're overwhelmed. This isn't weakness. This is growth. Because you're not just listening with your ears anymore. You're listening with your eyes, with your heart. And slowly, the world starts to speak differently to you. Not through words, but through tension, through patterns, through energy. And once you know how to listen like this, you'll never be confused again. People don't need to tell you their story. They show it. Every day, every moment, every silence. This is the real skill no one teaches you. The skill of emotional reading, not to manipulate, not to gain power, but to walk through life with your eyes wide open and your heart still soft. That's the gift. That's the power. And that's what we're building, one truth at a time. You're not the same as you were when we started. Maybe you don't notice it yet. But something in you sees more, feels more, listens differently. You look at people and wonder, what's underneath that smile? What's the story behind that silence? You're no longer just hearing what they say. You're sensing who they are. And that's where real empathy begins. Because once you understand that behavior is never random, you stop reacting. You start reading. And that doesn't just change your relationships. It changes you. Truth 11. People often chase what once hurt them, hoping this time it will heal. This is one of the hardest patterns to see. We repeat what we survived, not because it felt good, but because it felt familiar. The girl who was never chosen becomes the woman chasing those who won't choose her. The boy who had to earn love becomes the man addicted to achievement. And they say, I just have a type, or this is just how I am. But the truth is deeper. They're trying to win a battle they never got to finish. So when you see someone stuck in a painful loop, don't call it weakness. Call it a wound trying to rewrite itself. Truth 12. Most people aren't afraid of love. They're afraid of being seen. You hear it all the time. I'm not ready for a relationship, or I just don't want to get hurt. But look beneath those words. What they often mean is, I don't know if someone could really love me if they saw all of me. Love is risky because it's honest. And for people who've been judged, rejected, or abandoned before, honesty feels like standing naked in a storm. So they build walls, act detached, keep things casual, but under that cool surface is a heart whispering, please stay long enough to see me, not the version I perform, the real me. Truth 13. When someone can't receive, it's because they never learned how. Ever tried to compliment someone and they deflect? Tried to help someone and they shut you out? It's not rudeness, it's discomfort, because receiving love, care, kindness requires trust, and for many, trust was broken early. So now gifts feel suspicious, attention feels threatening, goodness feels foreign, and they push it away, not because they don't want it, but because it feels like a trap. If you want to connect with someone like this, don't push. Just stay. Show them that care doesn't always come with conditions. Truth 14. People remember how you made them feel when they weren't performing. This is the most invisible kind of love, the kind that sees people in their quiet, unguarded moments and makes them feel safe there, not praised for their success, not admired for their charm, but accepted in their stillness, in their tears, in their confusion. Most people walk through life wearing masks because they think that's the only version of themselves that will be loved. So when you meet someone and love the version they don't show the world, you become unforgettable. Because you didn't just see the show, you saw the soul. Truth 15. People often don't know what they're feeling until someone helps them feel it. You've probably had this happen. Someone says they're fine, but they're not. And when you stay present, when you don't rush them or fix them or pressure them, something shifts. Tears come, words stumble out, and suddenly they realize something they didn't even know they were holding. This is the quiet miracle of empathy, not giving advice, not changing someone, just being safe enough that the truth feels welcome. Most people don't need answers, they need space, and your stillness can be that space. Truth 16. When someone's pain makes them push you away, it's not rejection, it's fear. This one is important. You care about someone. You're showing up, but they pull back, act distant, say things they don't mean. And it hurts. But before you take it personally, ask, what are they afraid of? Connection can be terrifying for someone who's used to being hurt. So they run, they sabotage, they test you. Not because they want to lose you, but because they're afraid they'll lose themselves. If someone pushes you away, it often means your presence is stirring something they buried. Don't chase. Don't beg. Just leave the door open and the light on. If they're ready, they'll return. And now, a final truth. One that ties it all together. Truth 17. You can't always fix people, but you can help them feel less alone. You may not be able to heal their trauma, or erase their past, or undo what life did to them. But you can sit beside them, without judgment, without rushing, without needing to be the hero. And that's what most people crave, not solutions, but sanctuary. A place where their story is safe, a moment where their mask can fall, a breath where they don't have to perform. If you can offer that, you don't just read them. You help them remember who they are. You've reached the end, but you've also reached a beginning, because now you walk differently, you listen differently, you understand differently, and maybe you even feel seen in ways you never expected. Because these truths weren't just about other people, they were about you too. Your own mask, your own silence, your own desire to be understood without explanation. And now you have a new kind of sight, the kind that sees through behavior and speaks directly to the heart. So here's your invitation. Keep practicing. Keep noticing. Keep offering grace where others offer judgment. And above all, stay soft, even when the world feels sharp. If this lesson opened your eyes, let it open your heart too. Comment below. What moment hit you the hardest? What mask have you worn? And what truth are you now ready to live? And if you want more lessons like this, more deep dives into what it means to be human, subscribe. Because this isn't about learning information, it's about learning to see and becoming someone worth being seen.